And now an announcement from David Zell, Head of Policy and Public Affairs at Bitcoin Inc.
My name is David Zell, and I'm the Head of Policy and Public Affairs at Bitcoin Magazine. I'm here today to make a special announcement. But before that, I want to address the elephant in the room. Bitcoin has a narrative problem. It's a really interesting time for Bitcoin. We're a $1 trillion asset class, but most people in the country couldn't tell you what it is. In fact, most people in the country don't have a strong opinion on Bitcoin. They have no idea how they feel. Well, this is both a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, it means that we have the opportunity to shape how tens of millions of Americans come to understand the value of this permissionless, open, monetary network. And in turn, by creating that shared meaning, shape policy outcomes in the United States. But it also means that we're vulnerable. Turn on the news, open New York Times. It's not hard to see that the negative stories about Bitcoin far outweigh the positive ones. Whether it's nonsense about Bitcoin going to zero, whether it's nonsense about Bitcoin's role in illicit activity, or whether it's misguided understandings about proof of work and Bitcoin mining's impact on the environment, it's hard to see the mainstream show the value of Bitcoin. And it's really, really scary. Studies show that when it comes to novel issues, people are far, far more likely to believe the first perspective they hear than to change their minds, even when they're confronted with evidence or facts to the contrary. All it took was one central bank economist, Alex DeVries, to write a now debunked study with a fictitious and nonsensical articulation of Bitcoin's per transaction energy cost to ensure that over 95% of the conversations about Bitcoin center or mention its energy use. It's literally the horse and buggy industry going after the automobiles all over again. So the race for public opinion is on, and I would argue that we're behind. Americans are hearing news about price action, and they're hearing FUD. What they're not hearing are the stories that I heard earlier this week at the Human Rights Foundation's Oslo Freedom Forum. There, I met with activists from all over the world who are fighting against totalitarianism, who are fighting for democracy and basic civil liberties, using Bitcoin as their only means of financing their activism because the government shut down their bank accounts. These are the stories that we need to be promoting about Bitcoin. How Bitcoin will level the playing field here in the United States, giving Americans access and opportunity to invest in assets, to protect themselves from ridiculous monetary policy. They need to be hearing how Bitcoin is one of the strongest tools that we have to fight our adversaries like China and Russia, to promote democratic values, and to protect this country. That's why I'm incredibly excited to announce that in the near future, we'll be launching a 501c4 and a super PAC with the goal of turning as many of the 40 to 60 million Americans who own Bitcoin into single issue voters, combating the nonsense and the FUD about Bitcoin in the mainstream, promoting and showing the value from a policy perspective of this open monetary network, and showing DC that we're here to play, that we're going to help our allies and make sure that our critics know we are coming. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you all, and I'm really excited to delve further into the details of these developments once we launch. And one last thing, This is, in Bitcoin's ethos, a completely decentralized movement. And so I want to really shout out someone in the audience, Tristine, who you may know from Riot Blockchain. She's started a group called Sat Center that's going to be working from the bottom up, engaging with local elected officials, much the way that the Texas Blockchain Council has, to persuade them that Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin is good for their state. So I'm really excited about all of the developments politically coming out of the Bitcoin movement. And in the next couple of months, we're going to be here to stay, we're going to be loud, and people are going to know the value of Bitcoin. Thank you.